Howdy! How's everybody doing out there in YouTube land today? I hope this finds you well and feeling good and your weather great. Spring coming right around the corner. We're on the countdown now. Let's just hope Mother Nature decides that she's going to cooperate. What we're going to be doing today is we're going to be trying to wood burn on this pallet wood. This is just an old piece of pallet wood. It's cut to a 12-inch length. You see it still even has the nail heads and stuff in it. And I put a pattern down on here. This is my peel and stick pattern paper. You've watched many of my videos. You've seen me using the peel and stick. And I'm going to burn on this and see if I can get the design to burn through into that pallet wood. I believe I can, but this may be a success. It may be an epic fail. We're going to find out. Pallet wood is extremely hard. And that's going to be the test here as to whether the wood burner can burn into the pallet wood. I believe it can, but I could be proven wrong. You're going to have to watch the video and find out if this is a success or a failure. I thought this was a pretty little design to try to burn onto this piece of wood. It's kind of a lattice vine design. It's got a little bird on it down here sitting on a branch, and I'm letting the wood burner heat up. Now, we'll talk about wood burners for a minute while we're waiting for this to heat up. This is a walnut hollow wood burner. There are all kinds of wood burners on the market. You're free to shop around and see what you like the best. I love these walnut hollows. It feels good in my hand. It's got a little rubber grip on it that keeps you from getting burnt from the heat, because these things, man, I'm telling you what, wood burners get hot. My regular viewers laugh at me saying that, but man, I tell you, you can feel the heat coming off of the metal on this. This is the shaft. This tip down here screws into the shaft. You can get all different kinds of tips and things for these to do different kinds of designs. I tend to use this particular tip 99.9% of the time. It's a calligraphy tip. It's curved. You see the little curve on the end of it, and you can turn it different directions to get different kinds of burns out of it. And most of the stuff that I burn is just burning lines. So whether I want kind of a little wider line, I can press it down flat on that tip, or I can turn it on the side to get a narrower line. You can kind of curve it a little bit better to go around curves and stuff with. So I really love that calligraphy tip. I can do so much with it. If you're going to change tips mid-run while this thing's still hot, what I always do is turn it off, at least unplug it, don't have no juice going to it. Then you take a pair of pliers and clip them on the end, and then you unscrew that end, drop it into either a metal or a glass bowl, because these things are hot. You don't want to burn anything. You don't want to melt plastic or anything with it. You don't want to throw it down on your silicone mat on your desk. You'll burn through it. So you unscrew it, put it in a glass or a metal bowl. You get the next one you're going to use. I always put them in pliers. Even though they're cold, you're screwing it into a hot device, and metal conducts heat. So I put it in some pliers and I screw it into the tip till it's good and tight. Okay. Now, when you're done using the tool, you turn it off, you unplug it, and you set it on its little stand. This is the little stand that they come with. You set it on its little stand out of the way of everything, where the tip of it is not going to touch anything, not going to catch nothing on fire until it cools down. Then you can pick it up, move it, do whatever you want to do with it, put it away, hang it up, whatever method you use with your tool. All right. So that's a little bit about it. If the tip of this becomes charred and needs to be cleaned, you can use it a little steel wool or a little sandpaper to wipe it off on. Sometimes I just use it on a piece of wood, just wipe it down a little bit on a piece of wood like that, and knocks the char off of it so that it's good to use. This one's good and clean because I've already cleaned this tip, but just as a little demonstration to show you, you're just knocking the char off the end of it. You're going through this plastic paper. Now, while this is extremely thin paper, it is still a paper. It's a plastic, and it will adhere to your burner after time. So you're going to need to, knock a little of that off of there, or your burn's not going to be good and clean. Let's see, what else? Oh, I want to tell you, the walnut hollow has a regulator on it. And you can regulate the temperature up or down depending upon what you want to burn on. If you're going to burn on plastics and glass, you want it down here at the low end. If you're going to burn on wood, you want it up at the higher end. Depending upon what wood you're going to burn on, depends on where you want to set your regulator here. Now, if you're burning on just a piece of craft wood from the craft store, you might turn it down a little bit in this orange area. But I'm going to be burning on pallet wood. It's very hard, so I want this thing hot. I've got it all the way cranked up. Okay, so that's a little bit about the regulator. If you get the real cheap wood burners, they're going to burn, and they'll burn wood, and they get really, really hot, but you can't burn as versatile with them. You can't burn glass and plastics and that sort of thing because they're going to get too hot for that. So I suggest get you a nice wood burning tool if you plan to use it much, and that way you can use it more. You'll be happier with it. You'll get better results out of it. They have fancier ones than this out on the market. You can spend a lot of money on a wood burner. This is a nice medium range little wood burner, and I think you'll have a lot of fun with these. So with that being said, this should be getting pretty hot now. I'm going to test it here on the back. Let's see if she's going to burn. Yep, we're getting some burn on that. Yep. So since we know that it's burning a little bit, let's start down here at the end, and let's just start trying to burn through this plastic into the wood. Now, I don't press. I just set it on the line, and I drag it along the design. Now, this is pallet wood, so it's not real smooth. So you have to be careful with it. If you go pressing down on this wood in this design, your tip is going to go all over creation, because that wood's going to grab it and it's just going to start moving it all around where you don't want it to go. So you just put it on the plastic, good and hot, and just start moving it along the design, just like a pencil. You don't push hard, and you just move it along your design just a little bit at a time. You're not going to try to really, drag it much. Just put it on, let it burn, pick it up and move it. And do your design right into your plastic there. And I'll come back down here toward the end. I'm going to be working my way from one end to the other. So we just do it a little bit at a time. Moving along. Let the wood burner do its job, because like I said, I've got this cranked all the way up. So it's hot. It's going to be giving it all it's got here. If you need to turn the board a little bit to get a little bit better direction on it, do that. Do not be afraid to move your work. And just make sure that you get all of the design where the lines are covered with the burn. You don't want to be missing nothing with it. Now, this is probably going to be a little longer video than what you're used to seeing out of me, because I'm going to take my time and do this right. But this way you get to see the entire process. If you don't think your line is dark enough when you first put it down, then hit it again with the burner. Burn it in a little darker. Just keep going with it. Just a little bit at a time. Somebody asked me the other day what got me started in wood burning, and I don't even remember. I probably saw somebody doing it and figured, hey, I can do that too. And my mind's always going 90 miles an hour with all different kinds of ideas and stuff floating through my head. I'm a very creative person by nature. My mother sure didn't appreciate my creative skills whatsoever. My mother was a very hard worker. I'll give her credit where credit's due. She believed in get the job done, but she didn't believe in, creativity or imagination or anything. It was just whatever the job is, we're going to get it done and move on. And really stifled me as a kid because I had a lot of creative tendencies and a great imagination and was always dreaming up a better way to build the mousetrap, so to speak. Managed to keep me in a lot of trouble with my mother all the time. I've been a firm believer when you're raising kids, find out what they are interested in. And I believe that comes from my upbringing because my mother had no interest in anything that I was interested in at all. Find out what your kids are interested in and promote it. Promote the heck out of it. I also believe that if you do what you enjoy most in life, you never work a day in your life. My dad used to say that. Of course, when my mother wasn't listening, he would say that to me. He says, if you do what you enjoy for work, you'll never work a day in your life. And I do definitely believe that. Do what you enjoy. That way you want to get up in the morning. You want to get into whatever it is you're doing because you're looking forward to it. Don't look at it as just a chore to make a dollar. Do the love of your life. Now, because this wood is so hard, it's taken a little more effort to do the burning into it. I think the end result will be worth it, though. The pallet wood has a lot of integrity. It has been distressed. If this wood could talk about all the loads that it's handled in its time, it would tell you a tale. And what better way to celebrate the life of the piece of wood than to put a beautiful design on it? Something that people will sit back and admire for years to come. The design that I'm putting into this wood is just a little stop on its journey. It started out growing as a tree, and then it was cut down and shaped up into boards and nailed together into pallets and hauled all kinds of loads. I'll wipe off my blade a little bit here, getting a little char on it. I don't know if you can see there, but some char coming off of it, chipping off onto the board. We'll get that all chipped loose there. I can go back at it. But yeah, it was nailed into planks on a frame and hauled all sorts of loads in its lifetime. And then it was tore apart and cut back down into smaller planks. And now people are making designs with it, turning it into artwork. Just celebrating the life of the wood. We have a tendency just to look at the object and say, oh, well, you know, there's a piece of wood with a design on it. And we don't think about the journey that that piece has gone through to become that piece of artwork. Or you look at leaves on the ground and you think, oh, well, now there's a mess to clean up. Oh, I got to rake that, or I got to sweep that up. You don't think about the journey that the leaves have been through. Started out as a bud on a tree, and they blew in the wind and got wet in the rain. Lived out their season and died and turned a beautiful color and provided us with beauty. And it fell to the ground to become mulch for the plants. Wind up as compost and fertilize to bring on more life and more beauty. The circle of life. It's funny to be a farm girl and, you know, listen to what people say about farm life and all that. You know, it's springtime, and here it's, you know, starting to be spring. Mother Nature's not wanting to cooperate a whole lot, but hey, you know, the clock's ticking. So farmers are trying to get out and get their barns and stuff cleaned out right now, because soon it'll be time to be in the field. And when they clean out the barn, that's fertilizer. They take it out and they spread it on the field for the ground to absorb. And that becomes fertilizer to help the crops grow, provides nitrogen to the soil. And people who've not been on a farm and don't understand the circle of life and how it all works out, you know, they'll be taking a ride out through the country and they'll smell that from the barns getting cleaned out, turn up their nose and have a fit. Say, oh, that's awful. Awful smell. Well, if it wasn't for that awful smell, you wouldn't get the crops that you get out in the field. And the crops provide food for you to be nourished by. Grass grows, cows eat it, you eat beef. If you're a vegetarian, you need to understand that it's the nitrogen and phosphorus and nutrients in the soil that provide the plants that you eat as a vegetarian. And you need to learn to be a little more appreciative of the circle of life that goes on around you. Years ago, city feller come around thinking he's going to court me, and well, he was taking a drive out through the country one day going someplace, and somebody's cleaning out a barn, and of course, you know, he started squawking about the smell. I looked over at him and I said, well, that's what you smell. What I smell is money. And boy, he thought he was telling me off. You know, he jumped all over me over that. Didn't change my attitude any, because you're smelling that. Somebody's raising some kind of livestock, and that's providing income to their family. It helps clothe their children, send their children to school. It helps make their house payment and farm payment. It helps pay for the machinery that they use there on the farm. Yes, it smells like money to me. It means that things are being productive on the farm. I didn't give him any big speech to try to change his attitude because he's going to be hateful about the whole thing. But his ranting and raving didn't change my attitude any either. I grew up with it. And it was a small farm that I was raised on too. It wasn't no big production number. You know, so many of the farms now are factory farms, and there are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of acres and thousands of heads of livestock and that sort of thing. We had about 30 head of dairy cows, and we had a few head of beef cattle, and we had a few hogs. And then when I went back to the farm and I started farming, when Dad had his stroke, I bought the farm from Dad because he wanted to continue to live there. And, you know, with him having a stroke, he couldn't make farm payments and stuff. And because of his health, I had to buy the place from him because Medicaid and all that, they wasn't going to have it no other way. You know, it wasn't like he could just give it to me. So I worked that farm out. But I raised all kinds of rare heritage livestock and various other little critters there on the farm. Just keep moving along with this burner, little bit at a time. Just moving along my design. Just keep turning it so that it's easy for me to get the burner into the area that I need to get it into to get the design in there. Just let that burner do its thing. Just go on a little bit at a time with it. I think it's looking pretty good so far. It looks like it's burning in there pretty good. With these little zigzaggy kind of lines on here, I got to turn it first one way and then another to get the burner positioned. A bunch of my woodworking friends have been in Atlanta for the woodworking show this weekend. I think it's over today. I believe today's the last day of it, so they'll be coming back home by tomorrow. I imagine they didn't get a whole lot of enjoyment out of it today because yesterday was St. Patrick's Day, and I think they's doing a lot of celebrating. So they'll have some stories to tell, I'm sure. I hate it that I couldn't go, but I got my critters here, and I'm not in good shape enough to walk anything anymore. I've got to get to exercising some with spring coming on. I'm hoping it'll be a little more conducive to me being able to do some stretching and try to work some of this arthritis out a little bit. I'm moving like I'm 90. My leg's hurting and my back's hurting. Arthritis eating me up. I think that's looking good. Been listing some things on Etsy, and I got way more to go. I just keep adding some all the time, so be sure you go over and check out the Etsy store. See all the pretty things that I'm putting up there. People been asking about making donations to the channel, so I'll cover that right now while I'm working on this. If you want to make a donation to the channel, there's several ways you can do it. Down in the description of the video, there's a URL for my PayPal account, and you can make a donation that way. I have a Patreon channel where you can be making a monthly donation, and I've got 4 or 5 tiers on there, and I do a giveaway every month. In each tier, I'll draw a name. You can join it for as little as $1 a month, and it's just a recurring fee to stay on there. And I'm putting videos up on Patreon, some special videos that I'm not going to be doing on YouTube or on Twitch. And then the third way to donate is to go to my Etsy store and purchase something that I've got up on there. I've got all kinds of artwork and jewelry and my soap and oils and dream catchers, all kinds of cool stuff up there. So you're bound to find something that you'd like if you go over to the Etsy store. And all the donations go to me buying more craft supplies so I can keep bringing you videos and showing you how to do things. So if you enjoy what I do and would like to support me, there's the ways that you can do it. My channel is not monetized yet, so it's just all viewer supported, and I don't believe it's going to be monetized, because if they ever do get around to deciding that they would like to monetize it, I'm going to kill it, since they decided they're going to steal the super chat money that people donated to me. I don't have a lot of faith in what YouTube decides to do anymore, so I don't believe I'm going to give them an opportunity to try to pull that on all of us again. There's ways that you can support the channel without letting YouTube steal the money. That was a dirty trick. And if you're new here and you don't know what I'm talking about, I was up for monetization before they changed the rules, and they didn't approve it, but they did put super chat up on my channel. And some of my viewers tried to support me by donating super chat money. And when I had not met the hour requirements that YouTube decided to mandate in February, they killed the super chat and stole my money. They didn't issue a refund to the people who had been kind enough to donate, and they didn't issue me a check. So that's what I'm talking about. And yes, I'm bitter about it. That ain't right. I don't believe that people should be allowed to steal from anybody. They want to tell us that we need to put up great content. It takes money to put up great content. Craft supplies don't come free. My internet and utilities don't come free. Cameras and laptops don't come free. And YouTube refuses to support, and then they steal what little money that you do get donated to your channel. So that's my feelings on it. Your mileage may vary, but that's the way they've treated me. I'm just going around my little bird here and getting all the little tail feathers marked in. Now this piece I will not paint. I will leave it just natural. Let all the wood burning shine through on it. Some pieces I paint and some I leave alone, and this is one that will be left alone. Now on this tail, I'm just kind of burning all the tail feathers in pretty good on this one. The lines are so close together that it just doesn't make any sense to even try on this rough wood to separate them. Now the wing will have a little bit more definition to it because the lines are a little further apart. But I wouldn't want to try to stain or paint over top of that. Just let the natural beauty of the burning in the wood just shine there. Okay, we're down here to the little toes on the branch. Get his toes colored in. It's a little round belly. See, it would have been much easier and faster to have hit this with the engraver, but you wouldn't get the same kind of results with the engraver. And since the wood is so hard, trying to do this with the engraver would be really tough. It could be done, but it would be tough because it would dull the blade so quickly in this denser wood. So that's why I'm going after it with the burner. Okay. Now, as far as I'm concerned, that was the tough part because all that part had the leaves and the bird and all that in there, and the rest of this is just burning in this design of the vine. This is one of the pieces that I kind of refer to as procrastination pieces, because you can kind of start at the easy end and then work your way to the harder end, you know, and say that, oh, you know, I dread doing that, so I'll put it off till later. Or you can jump right in and get the hard part of it over with first, and then the rest is gravy. It's getting a little burn up there. So we'll knock a little bit more of the char off of the end of it. Nobody's going to see the back of it when it's hanging to the wall, so we can do that on the back. I'm going to be needing to get a new calligraphy tip soon anyway, because I'm wearing the tip down on this one. This pallet wood is not doing it any big favors. got to move slow with your burner on this hard wood. Because it takes just a little bit longer to burn the design in it. The wood is so hard. See, this line that I burn in here just really didn't go in dark enough, so I'm going to have to go back over it. Just have to move it real slow on the line. Let the burner do its job. Working my way down the piece a little bit at a time, taking each section. Just a piece at a time. We got through St. Patrick's Day, and we're headed for Easter weekend, coming up in a couple weeks here. See how that's just coming along, just working my way down the piece. More than halfway done with it now. What all kinds of plans y'all got for this week? You can drop in the comments there and let me know what y'all up to. I've got so many different things going on that I just kind of stand and turn in a circle wondering which one I should attack next. I got Etsy stuff that I've got trying to get listed, and I'm trying to get an area cleared out that I want to set up my new studio stuff in this summer. I'll be probably back in here, and this is the room that I kind of refer to as the office of the house, but I'll probably be back in here by fall. But I got an area that I'm trying to set up to do a green screen with. And I've been working on that mess here for about a week with trying to get ready for craft shows and all. And I've got more projects that I want to do. I got to get another Patreon video up, and soon going to be time for me to get out and do some yard work. I got a bunch of work to do out in the garden. I was looking at that today, shaking my head. So I'm not getting no younger, and moving around's hard for me. So luckily I can kind of take it at my own pace, but sometimes my own pace is even a little bit slow. And I need to do a bunch of house cleaning, spring cleaning time. I got a dentist appointment this week. Got to get to the store and do some grocery shopping, lay some food in, and when it's just you doing it, you don't have no help doing it. I ain't enough hours in the day to accomplish everything that needs to be accomplished. I'll take this opportunity to remind everybody that I do videos on Twitch every night, right around midnight, 1 o'clock, whenever I can get all my stuff gathered up to do them. I try to do them every night. I missed Friday night there, set into Saturday morning because Green Bay Wacky had a live stream going, and I was part of the panel. And I had a craft show that I had to do Saturday morning. I had to get some sleep. Not that I got any, but I tried anyway. And that's the first night I've ever missed doing a show on there. I also have a live stream on Monday afternoons at 3 p.m. Eastern Time on Twitch, and I have a live stream on YouTube at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. I don't do any crafting on that one, but I do talk to everybody that comes to the chat room. Maybe I have somebody on the panel once in a while. If you got any causes or anything that you need some support with, you let me know. If you would like to be on the panel, you have to have Hangouts in order to be able to do it. But I'll take it into consideration. We'll see what you got. Probably hear my cockatiel a little bit in the background there. He's been feisty today. I think he got upset with me being gone all day to the craft show yesterday. He was having a fit when I come home. He's kind of spoiled with me being here about all the time. See how that's coming? Won't be long till I have it burn in there. And you just watch that burner just burning its way along that line. It'll be interesting to pull this plastic off of here and see how my pattern looks, but I'm thinking that it's going to look pretty good from what I'm seeing so far. Yeah, I'm not even going to stain this or anything. I'll just maybe shoot it with a little Krylon to protect it a little bit. And that's it. Put a hanger on the back of it. Yeah, I'd love it if the wood could talk and tell you, you know, all it's been through, and it appreciates being turned into a piece of artwork for somebody to hang on the wall. Its days of heavy labor are done. No more having to carry big loads. Now it just gets a chance to sit around and look pretty. That's an interesting kind of concept to me too, about, you know, how a little piece of wood sliced up from a log into a plank became a piece of pallet wood, just an ugly old piece of wood, rough, textured, rustic, distressed, loads being dumped on it. I mean, a lot of times you even see tire treads and stuff on these where they've been run over and just abused. And then for it to be turned into a piece of art where it doesn't have to labor anymore. And you look at people who all their life, you know, they've been abused and roughed up, run over, scarred. And later in life, when they're just sitting there in the home, not being appreciated for anything, they're actually a piece of beauty. So often overlooked, full of wisdom. A lot of the older people, they don't talk much, you know, they don't say a whole lot. You go to the homes and they're just sitting there kind of humped up. Nobody really interested in what they have to say anymore. And they're the ones that should be talking the most because they have the most to tell. We're just about finished here. Just a couple more lines. And we'll have her burnt. Okay. I'm going to take a little look at it, make sure that I've hit all the lines on it. And it looks as though I have. I'm not seeing anything there that I, well, yeah, I do. A little leaf down here that I didn't get outlined. So we'll get it. That's the last piece. Yep. Just checking it all over. Yep, looks good to me. Okay. I'm going to turn off the burner on the regulator. Got it turned off. I'm going to pull the plug, and I'm going to take the little stand, and I'm going to set it over here on the side of the desk where it ain't touching nothing and can't burn nothing up while it cools down. Now I'm going to take my utility knife. I'm going to get up under the edge of that paper and start pulling it loose. And there's going to be a lot of paper to remove because there's a lot of design on there. And every place you burn through the design, you burn through the paper. That means that there's another little piece of paper that needs to be pulled off. So we'll just start pulling that up off of there. Get the knife up underneath the paper, go to plunking it off. And I want all the paper off of it too. I don't want no paper left behind. I know something that you all could help me with if you're actually listening to this video. Is anybody out there listening to the video an Amazon Prime member? And if so, are you really getting any benefit out of your Amazon Prime membership for the money you're paying? What benefits are you really getting out of it? And I'll tell you why I'm asking. I've been thinking about becoming an Amazon Prime member, mainly because of Twitch, because when you're a Twitch member, or when you're a Amazon Prime member, you know, and Twitch is run by Amazon, you get a few little perks on there, like you don't have to watch the doggone ads that they put up constantly, and they let you subscribe to one channel a month, I think, without charging you anything for it, and it's regular $5 a month to actually subscribe to a channel. And I'm not sure what all benefits you get from that yet. I haven't really investigated that. They say free shipping on Amazon, but if you're placing $50 or better orders on Amazon, pretty much you get free shipping anyway. It's very rarely that I ever have to pay for shipping on Amazon. But you do get to buy certain things from Amazon that they've got in the Prime account that you don't normally get the opportunity to purchase. I guess special deals and maybe some groceries and things of that nature. You also get some movie privileges, which I'm not real sure if I would take part in much of that. I'm not much of a movie watcher. So I'm not real sure if it would be of any great value, because I'm thinking it's like 20 bucks a month, $19.95 or something a month to join it, and I don't know if it would really be worth it for me. So I'm curious as to what other people, other friends of mine, viewers of mine, happen to think about Amazon Prime. You know, yay or nay, that you tried it and you hated it and you quit it, or you know, you got it and you love it and you wouldn't give it up for the world. You know, what do you think of it? What do you use most out of it? On these little leaves like this, I'm just going to scrape over them real good. Make sure I get all the plastic scraped off. The burns are so close together. It's hard to get up underneath the plastic that's on there. Yeah. Okay, we just keep scraping at a little bit at a time. These little bitty places are the tough ones on here. Get that plastic off of them. It's up about 50 degrees here while I'm filming this. And you can hear motorcycles outside. They're all begging for spring. I think it's a little too chilly out there to be airing around on a motorcycle, and a bunch of people are going to be making themselves sick. That happens every year. People jumping the gun, trying to push it too soon before the weather really gets warm enough to support it. I mean, I'm as sympathetic as the next guy about wanting warm weather, but hey, I'm not willing to make myself sick, so I can't enjoy it when it really does get here. Okay, getting it off all these little parts of the wing and the tail. Where it's stuck on there. Come on over there. Just keep after it a chunk at a time. Let's get my screen straightened up here. Goodness gracious, come on. Things just went all cattywampus up here on the screen. There, that's better. Now, you can see where I've been and where I'm going. You can see the glare off of it. The light's glaring off of it. There. Got some more leaves down in here, so this will be a lot of little bitty pieces. I'll just scrape them off. And as you can see, it's labor intensive to do this kind of thing. I'm amazed at people at craft shows that, you know, they'll admire a piece of your work and tell you that it's pretty, but they're not willing to pay for the labor that it took you to do the piece. And I mean, I don't even charge close to what it takes in labor to produce a lot of the stuff that I make. I had one at the craft show that I did Saturday that she saw a piece that I had done, and I was only asking maybe about 25% of the labor that I put into it, not to mention the materials. And she acted like she went into sticker shock when when I gave her the price. I thought, well, honey, I can't afford to make it and give it to you. Oh, Lord. Just keep after it a piece at a time. Every little square on there, you got to go over it and get the plastic all raked off of it. I'm making headway. Just about done. Just take that little razor edge on that and keep scraping the plastic loose. And you just look the whole thing over and you make sure that you got all the plastic raked off of it. You see any little places left of plastic, you go back over it, scrape them loose. Sometimes you got to turn it just a little bit in the light. But yep, there it is. All done up. Try to get it underneath this camera so you can see. Let's see if I can raise the camera up even just a little bit more. There it is. Whole board. Got our little bird down there. There's a little head sitting on his little branch, looking all happy. And there it is. So I'll shoot this with some Krylon, and when that's dry, then I will come back and put the hanger on the back of it, and it's ready to rock. So I hope you enjoyed this little vine with the bird. And with that, I think there's only one thing left to say, and that's Brenda's Crafty. Be like Brenda.